Hey everybody, welcome back to another video on Deadside. On today's video, we are talking all things storage, how it works, what options you have, and a few tips and tricks to keep your stuff safe. Let's jump right in. The first thing that I wanted to mention is the actual add-on bundle that is currently available called the Supporter Pack. On the Supporter Pack, it actually doubles your storage size at the traders, north and south on the map. I'll show you in a moment, but instead of just your normal 18 slots that it gives you by default on the game, you actually get double this for an additional $10 basically, or if you buy it bundled, you do save an additional 5% right now. So for an additional $8, $8.50, you get a skin for a new shirt, starter shirt, like when you spawn in, a knife skin, a lighter skin. But the most important thing is the double the storage size that I thought was valuable. So now let's go look at what it actually looks like. Okay, so as I mentioned, the first type of storage is the safe zone storage. This is what will be doubled on your character if you pay for that supporter pack. But if you look on the map, there's a north zone in green and a southern zone in green. At each of these zones, there are storage options there at the traders. Now, one thing to note is the north and the south are considered two separate locations for storage, meaning if you store something at the north safe zone, it is not accessible down at the south. You have to actually go back to the north to access it. The good sign is, or the good news is that this actually doubles your storage space as you otherwise would have. So if I run over to a trader and I press trade, what you'll notice here is on the left-hand side, right above me, is your storage space. And now keep in mind, because I purchased that storage pack, the supporter pack, what you'll see is it goes all the way down. So you do have the full storage space instead of just the 18 slots up top. It actually doubles it. If you have not purchased that, you will have 18 slots here. And keep in mind, you would have an additional 18 slots down south. You can store anything here. It will be saved. One thing to note, if you have like a gun with an attachment, for example, you can't drop it in. You do have to set the attachment separate, and then it would let you actually move the gun over. Likewise, if you have a bag or a vest or clothing, actually for that matter, if I put anything in the bag, it will not let me store the bag. So you can't build on storage space like in Tarkov where you can put bags and bags or things of that nature. Any item stored in your inventory does have to be empty. That's the only way you can have it stored there. But if it is empty, you can just move it right over and fill up your storage space here. The next two options for storage, you actually have to craft. So let's run out to the base real quick and I'll show you what those look like. Okay, so we've made it to the base. Now let's look at the last two types of storage, which is your storage outside of the safe zones, right? So the first type, if you actually go to your inventory and on the left up top, you'll see instead of ground, you choose craft. If you scroll down to craft, the first one is under containers. The second one is under base. Okay, so for the original container, it only takes 4 wood planks and 8 nails. Now, if you've already watched some of my other videos on the land claim or on building a base, you've probably seen this. But if not, basically you can get wood planks. So by going out and chopping on trees. So if you take an axe to a tree, you'll get logs, and then you can craft those logs into wood planks. And that's what it actually takes to make a container. Or you can actually find wood planks in different zones. I can tell you, on certain areas like Yantar and some of the others that have construction areas is where you'll find nails and planks and things of that nature, and scrap metal, which we'll talk about here in a second. But once you have the materials, all you have to do is just click craft. It will go ahead and build that container. And now one thing to note is you can place these containers basically anywhere on the map. The only thing to know is that wherever you do place it, so if you see here, if it lights up in green, it lets you know that I can place it. So I'm going to go ahead and press the F key, and it will just place the container on the ground. But these containers are unlocked. All other storage outside of your safe zone storage are unlocked containers. So anybody can come up and open it. So if you open this actual container we just made, it is 9 slots. So same, criteria apply, that you cannot put a bag in there with stuff in it. You have to set over individual items, and that's how you can fill the 9 slots. You can put anything in that, and you can put them basically anywhere on the map. And then what you'll notice is like up here in my top right-hand corner of the map, you'll see it's going to be indicated by a little loot stash icon. And that's how you will know where these little containers are placed, so you can go back and find them later, even if you die or something of that nature. So one thing I recommend is you could even carry some of these containers with you, or a container with you at least. And if you go into a decent fight, right, to where you get a lot of loot, either multiple, primary weapons or bags or things that you can't carry multiples of, because like with your primary weapons, you can only carry 2. You can't keep one of these in your bag currently. So if you have extras, you can throw these in one of these containers and hide that somewhere and save it for later. That one has attachments, but you can put these items there, and then that way, once you go sell off the inventory you have, you can come back and pick up this, and you have it saved to where it won't despawn. If it's left laying on the ground of a person you've killed, in AI especially, it definitely can despawn pretty quick. So put it in a container. That's something neat there. Now, also, once you're done, right, if you've used it in the same spot, you don't want to leave it there any longer. You want to carry it with you or whatever. You don't like the place it's in. If you notice, there is, for the G key, you can actually disassemble it. So if you press the G key, it's much slower than actually building it, but now you can disassemble it and put it back into your inventory to use again at another location. So we'll wait for this to finish up. Once it's actually complete, what you'll see is it's just left laying on the ground. As with most things that you craft or disassemble or anything, it actually does leave it on the ground. If you just walk up to it and pick it up, it places it back in your inventory and allows you to place it again as many times as you want. And if you notice, it's no longer listed as an icon down here in my base. Now, the last type of storage that we currently have inside the game are the actual storage containers. So if I go here to craft, under the base section is where you'll see these storage containers. Now they do take a unique piece of material that we haven't really covered yet, and that's sheet metal. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the one piece of sheet metal that I have. That is what it looks like on the ground. So if you're going around in construction zones or different houses or towns, POIs or whatever, you find this sheet metal. It does take 2 of these sheet metals to be able to craft a storage container. It takes 2 of the sheet metals, 8 wood planks, 8 nails, and have a hammer in your inventory. Now, another thing with the actual storage containers, though, these are your big storage. They're great and all, but you can only have 3, and they have to be placed inside your base area. So where you've already done the land claim and where you've built your base is where you will actually want to be able to use these containers at. If you notice, they are much larger. You can choose a location that you want to place it. You press the F key, and it will rapidly build this. Now, when we look at this storage space, it's actually the full size of what you have otherwise. So it's the full 36 slots instead of just a 9. So it's much larger, which is awesome to use. But keep in mind, these are unlocked just like the other containers. So if you have these at your base, make sure you have them indoors. Make sure you have them in a place that nobody else can get to. If you notice, mine is locked inside all these walls. And if you also have it in the middle, people won't get to them. That is something to note. With these containers, there is currently somewhat of a glitch in the game that if somebody's outside of the wall and you have it placed right up against the edge, they can actually open it from outside the wall. And they can open it and grab any of your inventory that you have stored there. So make sure if you are placing these large storage containers, even inside your base that's fully closed, make sure you place them far enough away from the walls that they can't get to it. And make sure your places have a full roof, okay, that they are doored and full roofed in. I get mine currently isn't finished. We're working on that right now. But you want to do that because some places that if there's trees and stuff, people can actually currently glitch in there and get into your items as well. Sadly, I've actually had one of my crates cleaned out the hard way. For when I was actually logged off, some people got to it. So I'm not going to leave this one here. I am going to put it downstairs with my others away from the walls, but I wanted you to be able to see it in the nice sun where it's at. That's actually all the storage types there are. So there's your safe zone storage. There's the containers that you can build. These you place anywhere. And then there's the big storage containers that you can have 3 of that can only be placed in your base zone. I hope this video helped. Hopefully this explains how the storage works in the game and it makes sense and everything. If you have any other questions of stuff I haven't covered, make sure to leave that below in the comments. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button so you'll see any other Deadside videos or all the other videos I'm putting out here on the channel. Thank you so much for sticking around. We appreciate it as always, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good day, guys.